Part 18. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 171. This. Su Yang touched the bridge of his nose and smiled softly. Actually, it doesn't matter if you eat it once in a while. Double standards. Concubine Li rolled her eyes at Su Yang and said, "You said sugar is bad for teeth and children can't eat it. Have you forgotten? What I said is, you can't eat sweets in the morning." "It's already noon," Su Yang explained. "Okay, don't explain. Don't you just want to pamper Yu? Let me tell you, Su Yang, that won't work." Li Feixuan said seriously, "I also want to pamper Yu. She calls you Dad Su, so I will be her mother." "But, Yu already has a mother at this time," Su Yu interrupted. "Long." Li Feixuan knelt down, smoothed Su Yu's hair, and then said with a gentle smile, "My real mother is my real mother. Teacher Li can be your godmother, so that we can see each other often in the future. I and you, Dad Su, I can also take you to play often." "Really?" Su Yu said happily. Concubine Li Xian smiled and said, "When your mother comes to pick you up, I will tell her about this. Although I don't know your mother, Teacher Li's character is trustworthy. Your mother will not refuse. If your mother agrees to let me be your godmother, if she is busy with work in the future, I can legitimately take care of you." Li Feixuan said seriously. She seemed to have thought about it a lot, and she seemed to really like Su Yu. Yeah, Teacher Li, you are so kind." Su Yu took out the lollipop from her mouth and kissed Li Feixuan sweetly. About 10 minutes later, all the meals ordered before were served. Su Yang and Li Feixuan took turns feeding Su Yu, much like a family of three, and the scene was particularly warm. But at this moment, Dong Zikan and a blonde foreign girl walked into the restaurant and walked straight to the table next to Su Yang. "Miss Mona, Joseph's restaurant is the best Western restaurant in Jiangbei. I especially like the foie gras here. It tastes great. You must try it," Dong Zikan said with a smile. "Okay." The blonde foreign girl sat down on the chair. Her pronunciation of Chinese Mandarin was even better than Dong Zikan's. "Miss Mona, believe me, the delicious food here will not disappoint you. Dong Zikan was talking when he suddenly saw Li Feixuan at the next table. His eyes suddenly lit up and he was overjoyed. "Feixuan, why are you here? What a coincidence. We are destined to meet each other thousands of miles away. We have a clear understanding of each other." "Mr. Dong, if we are destined to meet each other thousands of miles away, but if we are not destined to meet each other in the opposite direction, it is not because we have a clear understanding," Mona, the foreign girl, corrected. "That's what Miss Mona said." Dong Zikan responded casually, and then ignored Mona. Instead, he walked up to Li Feixuan and said with a flattering smile, "Feixuan, can we have lunch together?" Li Feixuan moved her seat and had no intention of paying attention to Dong Zikan. "Feixuan, I have studied abroad for many years and am very experienced in eating Western food. I also know enough about Joseph's restaurant." Dong Zikan was unwilling to give in and continued, "Please accept my invitation." When Su Yang, who was sitting opposite, saw this, he immediately became unhappy and said coldly, "Dong Zikan, are you blind? Can't you see that Fei Xian is dining with me? Su, young master Su." Dong Zikan couldn't move his eyes away when he saw Li Feixuan, and then he noticed Su Yang next to him, whose expression suddenly changed. "But then I thought about the fact that my family had an ancient martial arts sect as my backer, and I immediately calmed down." Li Feixuan didn't appreciate it at all, and said lightly, "Are you blind? Can't you see that we, a family of three, are eating together and are very happy?" Su Yang held Dong Zikan's arm with one hand and said sullenly, "You bitch, if you want to touch my wife, are you looking for death?" Dong Zikan then looked at Li Feixuan, patted his chest and said, "Feixuan, I know it was young Master Su who forced you. Don't be afraid. I will protect you today. Young Master Su does not dare to threaten you. But now, Dong Zikan had his arm broken by Su Yang and was in excruciating pain. He couldn't hold it in any longer, so he wanted to threaten Su Yang with the shadowless sect. After calming down, Dong Zikan summoned up the courage, met Su Yang's gaze, and said seriously, "Young Master Su, it is the concubine's freedom to dine with you. Don't force me to do so just because you are the eldest son of the Su family Xian." Su Yang stepped forward, raised his foot and stepped on Dong Zikan's disabled hand, and said with a playful smile, "Master Dong, you are bragging. Since your Dong family is so powerful, you should contact your father now and ask him to bring someone to rescue him." "You? Who said I was threatened?" Dong Zikan's expression froze for a moment. He looked at Su Yu next to him, and then said in disbelief, Fei Xian, you and Su Yang have children." However, before his hand could touch Li Feixuan, Su Yang pinched him. Dong Zikan felt disappointed and came over to grab concubine Li's white and tender wrist. Immediately afterwards, Dong Zikan let out a scream, staggered, and soon fell to the ground, his expression extremely painful. But now, he suddenly learned that the goddess in his heart had given birth to a child with Su Yang, which was even more uncomfortable than being a cuckold. Snapped. Ah. Regarding Ge Ping's matter, Dong Wenzheng asked Dong Zikan to keep it a secret and not to tell anyone. After the words fell, Su Yang showed no mercy and directly broke Dong Zikan's right arm. "Who do you think the Su family is? How can you compare with our Dong family?" Immediately, he raised his hand and slapped Dong Zikan to the ground. Dong Zikan stopped screaming in an instant, and just stared at Su Yang with resentful eyes, gritted his teeth and said, "Young Master Su, you don't think I'm really afraid of you, do you? Okay, Su Yang, I'll find my dad right now. Just wait for me." "Feixuan, this is not true, tell me, this is not true. Now. Shut up and don't disturb our meal," Su Yang threatened coldly, "otherwise, I will make you unable to make a sound forever." Dong Zikan's face was grim with pain. He hurriedly took out his mobile phone with his other hand and made a call to the Dong family. Dong Zikan couldn't accept it. As soon as he returned to Jiangbei, he fell in love with Li Feixuan and had beautiful reverie about Li Feixuan. A family of 3. When Su Yang heard Dong Zikan's words, he frowned instantly, and then a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Originally, Su Yang planned to let Dong Zikan go, but after learning about this, he stood up and strode to Dong Zikan. "Ah! It seems that the Dong family is more or less connected with the Banbu sect that night." Yes, Li Feixuan did not deny it and said in an indifferent tone, "So, Master Dong, please give up on me and don't pester me again in the future. After all, I am already the mother of a 4-year-old child." Dong Zikan stood up and sneered with gritted teeth, "The backer behind our Dong family is the ancient martial arts section. A few days ago, a master came here and almost beat your father to death. Young Master Su, what are you so arrogant about?" Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 172. At this moment. Dong Family Manor. A black Land Rover parked outside the manor, and then Dong Wenzheng got out of the car. In the past 2 days, he went to Wuying sect, and after running around for dozens of hours, he finally returned to Jiangbei. "Master, how is the situation? Has the Wuying sect expressed anger towards our Dong family?" A subordinate stepped forward to greet him and asked in a low voice. Dong Wenzheng nodded and said with an ugly expression, "The great elder of Wuying sect blamed our Dong family for not being well informed and not reporting Susuanation's strength in advance, which resulted in the death of 9th elder Ge Ping. It's too much. 9th elder Ge Ping came to Jiangbei with the purpose of killing Su Shenbing. Su Xiantian just happened to appear in the Jimen black market." This subordinate gritted his teeth and said, "Master, the Wu Ying sect is so unreasonable and is clearly shirking responsibility. Okay, I have used half of the Dong family's assets to appease the great elder of the Wu Ying section. Dong Wenzheng said calmly, don't mention this matter again in the future. After all, our Dong family is just a subsidiary force of the Wu Ying section. Without the Wu Ying sect, our Dong family will be unable to move forward in Jiangbei. Yes, the subordinate responded respectfully. Hey, most of the wealth that you have worked hard to accumulate for many years will be lost because of a trivial matter. This is the tragedy of being a family affiliated with a section. Dong Zikan sighed. It could be seen that he was very helpless, but he had no idea what to do. For the Dong family, the Wu Ying sect is a behemoth. Let alone an elder-level figure, even a random disciple can destroy the Dong family. Therefore, in front of Wu Ying sect, Dong Wenzheng felt deeply powerless and could only work hard to please, without even daring to show any dissatisfaction. The Wu Ying sect simply did not kill the goose to lay the eggs and left half of the assets to the Dong family, otherwise the Dong family would have ceased to exist. Being with a king is like being with a tiger. The fate of the Dong family is always in the hands of a force that demands too much. This feeling is too uncomfortable. Dong Wenzheng sighed again, and then stopped thinking about it. His eyes fell on the subordinate next to him and asked, "Is Zikan at home?" "Not here." The subordinate responded truthfully, "Master Zikan has been working hard to practice speaking recently. He was still at home just now, but now he went out to eat with the speaking teacher. Zikan is really a good boy. He never causes trouble and doesn't let me worry." Mentioning his son Dong Zikan, Dong Wenzheng showed a happy smile. At this moment, the manor's housekeeper hurried out with his cell phone. When he saw Dong Wenzheng, he said anxiously, Master Zikan called. He seems to have been beaten." "What, how dare you hit my Dong Wenzhen's son?" When Dong Wenzheng heard this, he suddenly became angry. He immediately took the phone and asked with concern, "Zikan, what's going on? Who hit you?" "Dad, don't ask so many questions. I'm at Joseph's restaurant. Please bring someone here quickly," Dong Zikan said, his voice full of pain. Okay, Zikan, wait for me." Dong Wenzheng felt heartbroken when he heard his son's voice. He gritted his teeth and said, "No matter who it is, I want him to pay back 100-fold. After hanging up the phone, Dong Wenzheng didn't even return home. He took several Dong family masters and went straight to Joseph's restaurant. Dong's manor is not far from Joseph's restaurant. The black Land Rover ran through the red light and arrived at Joseph's restaurant in 5 or 6 minutes. Dong Wenzheng did not hesitate and led the Dong family masters directly into the restaurant. "Whoever beats my son, come here and be punished," Dong Wenzheng shouted angrily as he stepped into the restaurant. "It's me." At this time, Su Yang did not move away from Dong Zikan's hand, and said coldly, "Master Dong, you are so arrogant." "Young Master Su." Dong Wenzhen's eyes fell on Su Yang, and his expression suddenly turned ugly. In Jiangbei, there were not many people that the Dong family did not dare to offend, and young Master Su happened to be one of them. Both Su Qincan and Su Jingguo are famous figures. Su Jingguo, in particular, doted on young Master Su so much that almost no one in Jiangbei dared to touch young Master Su, and Dong Wenzheng was no exception. "Dad, help me." At this time, Dong Zikan was lying on the ground crying for help. "Zi-kun." Seeing his son's miserable appearance, Dong Wenzheng met Su Yang's gaze and gritted his teeth and said, "Young Master Su, Zikan has no enmity with you, why did you hit him?" "No injustice or enmity." Su Yang smiled coldly, "Haha, even if there is no grievance or enmity, I just want to torture him. Is there any problem?" "You." Dong Wenzhen's expression darkened, and there was a flash of resentment in his eyes, but he turned around and said, "Young Master Su, no matter what Zikan did wrong, I will apologize to you for him. Let's forget about today's matter." You show your noble hand and go around him once. Su Yang stared at Dong Wenzheng, half smiling but not smiling. Is this your attitude of apologizing? Have you ever seen someone stand apologizing? Su Yang, don't go too far. After all, I am also your uncle's generation. Even if you are your father, you still have to treat me with some kindness, Dong Wenzheng said in a deep voice. Enough is enough. He. Su Yang sneered twice and didn't take Dong Wenzheng seriously at all. He even crushed Dong Zikan's wrist in front of Dong Wenzheng and kicked Dong Zikan away. Ah! Dong Zikan screamed repeatedly, his body slid on the ground, his clothes on his back were torn, and he fainted from the pain. Zi-kun. Dong Wenzheng hurriedly stepped forward, caught Dong Zikan, and then ordered, come here, quickly, take Zikan to the best hospital in Jiangbei. Yes. A Dong family master quickly carried Dong Zikan on his back. Young Master Su, today's dispute has been settled. Let's wait and see. Dong Wenzheng dropped a word and was about to take people out of Joseph's restaurant. Stop. Seeing this, Su Yang said coldly, did I let you go? Su Yang, what else do you want? Dong Wenzheng added with an unkind expression, don't bully others too much. Our Dong family can gain a foothold in Jiangbei and we are by no means soft persimmons. If you press forward step by step and don't save face for the Dong family, then I don't mind breaking up with your Su family. When Su Yang heard this, he smiled playfully and said, haha, with the support of the Gwu sect behind you, you are so tough. When Dong Wenzheng heard this, his expression suddenly changed, and he pretended not to know. Humph, I don't understand what you are talking about. Stop pretending. Su Yang stared at Dong Wenzheng and sneered with a sullen face, the person who attacked my father in the Jimen black market a few days ago was from the Shadowla sect behind you, right? You, how do you know? After hearing what Su Yang said in such detail, Dong Wenzheng broke his guard instantly. Your son Dong Zikan told me personally. Su Yang smiled. What? Dong Wenzhen's expression froze, and he gritted his teeth and looked at the unconscious Dong Zikan with hatred. Previously, he was complacent that his son did not get into trouble, but now he was dumbfounded. This is crazy. If you don't mess with it, it will be amazing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 173. Young Master Su. After thinking for a moment, Dong Wenzheng looked at Su Yang and defended, Zikan was annoyed by you, that's why he said this. I wanted to scare you and regain some face. Actually, there is no ancient martial arts force behind our Dong family at all. Zikan is just taking advantage of the situation. Dong Wenzheng continued, when he says this, just listen to it and don't take it seriously. Haha, Master Dong, do you think I will believe it? Su Yang smiled softly, then his eyes became sharp, and he said calmly, there are private rooms on the top floor of the restaurant. It's better for us to make this matter clear. Okay, young Master Su, I, Dong Wenzheng, will accompany you to the end today, Dong Wenzheng said solemnly. As the head of the Dong family, he has already entered the middle stage of energy transformation. This strength is not weak in Jiangbei. What's more, in Dong Wenzhen's eyes, Su Yang was just a super dude, so he naturally didn't care and readily agreed to go to the top floor box with Su Yang. Fixuan, you guys have your meal here, I'll come down later at this moment, Su Yang said with a smile. Li Fixuan knew Su Yang's true strength, so she was not worried. She smoothed her hair in front of her forehead and said with a smile, Su Yang, do you want to leave some food for you? No, I've almost eaten. Su Yang smiled softly. Bad guy, don't bully my dad, or Yu will punch you in the head. Su Yu next to you first, threatened Dong Wenzheng fiercely, then hugged Su Yang and said obediently, "Dad Su, you have to come back quickly." Su Yang nodded, rubbed Yu Yu's little head, and walked into the elevator with Dong Wensheng. It didn't take long. Top floor, private room. Surrounded by tempered glass, you can get a bird's eye view of the nearby scenery from a high position. There were only two people in the box, Su Yang and Dong Wensheng. "Master Dong, don't use the rhetoric you just made." Su Yang stared at Dong Wensheng, got straight to the point, and asked, "Tell me, why did Ge Ping kill my father?" "Haha, Mr. Su, it seems that you really know some inside information." There was no one around, so Dong Wensheng stopped hiding and said with a cold smile, "Yes, Ge Ping, the master of the half-step earth sect that day, is indeed from the Wuying sect, and our Dong family is indeed from the Wuying section affiliated forces. But, young Master Su, what can you do if you know this? Even if you tell Sukyankan about this, it will be useless. Do you think your grandfather dares to provoke the Dong family? Dare to provoke the Shadowless sect? My grandfather didn't dare." Su Yang met Dong Wensheng's gaze and said with a playful smile, "But, I dare." As soon as the words fell, Su Yang immediately took action and directly strangled Dong Wensheng's neck. The speed was so fast that Dong Wensheng didn't react at all, and his face suddenly changed with fright. In addition to fear, Dong Wensheng was more shocked and couldn't help but ask, are you a master of ancient martial arts?" "Good." Su Yang said calmly, "Now, can you answer my question?" What state are you in?" Dong Wensheng's mind went blank and he asked with a trembling voice. "Haha, you will understand after seeing my other identity." With that said, Su Yang threw Dong Wensheng to the ground, then used the disguise technique to log into Susua Nation's account. At the same time, Su Yang released a terrifying force of intimidation that swept across the entire place. Su Xiantian. Dong Wensheng had seen the video of Su Xiantian killing people. Now he saw Su Yang turning into Queen Su Xiantian. He was so shocked that he said with horror on his face, "Young Master Su, he is actually Su Xiantian." Su Xiantian. When the nine-gate black market first appeared, it killed the smiling Buddha. At that time, everyone said that he was a young master and his reputation was huge. Recently, Su Xiantian killed Ge Ping, who was half a step into the realm of Earth sect, in the Nine Gates black market, thus transforming from a young master to a young Earth sect. Susua Nation's talent is unparalleled in the world, and his background is even more mysterious, attracting speculation from many forces in the ancient martial arts world. And such a talented and beautiful young prodigy is actually the notorious super playboy, Su Yang? Such a strong contrast made Dong Wensheng unbelievable for a moment. But the power exuded from Su Yang was like a huge mountain, weighing him down so hard that Dong Wensheng had no choice but to believe it. "Master Su." Dong Wensheng did not stand up after being thrown to the ground by Su Yang. At this moment, he hurriedly knelt on his knees and begged for mercy in panic, "I don't know your identity. I have offended you so much. I hope you can forgive me." Dong Wensheng is not afraid of the Su family. If they break up, he can ask the Wuying sect to take action. Even if the Su family is the largest family in Jiangbei, they will still bow to his Dong family. But Su Xiantian and Dong Wensheng were so taboo that they would never dare to offend them. Because Su Xiantian was so young and had the strength to kill even half a step of the Earth sect, there must be a terrifying, ancient and powerful force behind him. Dong Wensheng understood that the strongest disciple of Wuying sect was only at the master level. In comparison, Su Xiantian was too strong, and the forces behind him would definitely crush the Shadowless sect. Some people had speculated before that Su Xiantian either came from the place of Zen, or came from between mountains and seas, or deep in the clouds. In short, he must be a top-rank sect in the ancient martial arts world. Dong Wensheng. With this in his mind, Dong Wensheng kowtowed hurriedly and reverently, and said with fear on his face, "Master Su, please don't kill me. From now on, I can work for you, and the Dong family is at your disposal." Master-servant contract. In addition, if another master from the Shadowless sect comes to Jiangbei, please notify me as soon as possible. Dong Wenzheng continued, the Great Elder is in charge of various affairs of Wuying sect and has great power. Ji Ping is just the 9th elder. When he goes out to do things, he must get the permission of the Great Elder. Mr. Su, if you want to know the reason, you can ask him. The Great Elder of Wuying section. Dong Wenzheng hurriedly explained, our Dong family and the Su family have no enmity or enmity. I will definitely not let the Wuying sect kill the head of the Su family. At this time, Dong Wenzheng asked tremblingly, because he felt that his life seemed to be controlled by Su Yang. Su Yang said calmly, when you go back, pretend nothing happened and don't expose my identity. There are 2 types of master-servant contracts. In order to know Wuying sect's plan at any time, Su Yang left Dong Wenzheng behind and controlled him with a master-servant contract to nip it in the bud. You don't need to ask any more questions. You just need to know that from now on, I can decide your life or death at any time, Su Yang said lightly. You said that yourself. Dong Wenzheng realized how powerful and weird Su Yang was, and expressed his loyalty with a horrified look on his face. Master Su, I, Dong Wenzheng, promise that from now on, I will obey your advice and will never be negligent. How terrible! After the contract is bound, Su Yang can know what Dong Wenzheng is thinking at any time, and even a thought can make Dong Wenzheng doomed. What method is this? When Su Yang heard this, he immediately kneaded the formula with both hands, condensed a complex pattern, and pushed it directly into Dong Wenzheng's body. Dong Wenzheng changed his tone and said truthfully, however, I do know that there is someone who definitely understands. One is the contract signed with the white cat. The master and servant are relatively harmonious and complement each other. Su Yang nodded, then looked at Dong Wenzheng and said with a half-smile, Dong Wenzheng, almost no one in Jiangbei knows that I am Su Xiantian. Now that you know, what do you think I will do to you? Good. I'll ask when I get the chance. The Dong family is dispensable in the eyes of the Wuying section. I will not contact the Wuying sect unless it is absolutely necessary. Hearing this, Dong Wenzheng's expression suddenly changed, and 4 words came to his mind, kill and silence. Since the Wuying sect's people killed Su Shenbing once, they might kill him a 2nd time or a 3rd time. Su Yang returned to his original appearance, then his eyes fell on Dong Wenzheng, and he said sternly, tell me, why did the elder of Wuying sect attack my father? Reporting to Mr. Su, I don't know the details, but this matter has nothing to do with our Dong family. Who? Su Yang frowned. The reason why Su Yang did not kill Dong Wenzheng was because he wanted to use Dong Wenzheng to understand the dynamics of the Shadowless sect. The other is the contract used on Dong Wenzheng, which forcibly locks the other party and makes the other party his slave. Therefore, knowing that Su Yang was Empress Su Xian, Dong Wenzheng knelt down directly without any hesitation and treated Su Yang with utmost respect. What Su Yang had just condensed was the master-servant contract. Su, Mr. Su, what did you put into my body just now? Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 174. Next. Su Yang and Dong Wenzheng exchanged contact information with each other, then walked out of the top floor box together and went to the restaurant on the 1st floor. Master Dong, forget what happened today and won't do it next time, Su Yang said calmly in front of everyone. Thank you, Mr. Su, for your magnanimity. Dong Wenzheng was grateful at first, and then left the scene with the Dong family masters and Dong Zikan. Haha, the head of the Dong family is so slapped in the face. He was so arrogant just now. I didn't expect that he is coward now. It's normal. The Su family has deep roots in Jiangbei. The old head of the Su family, Sukinkan, and the heroine god of war Sujingwo are both big shots. How dare the Dong family dare to offend them? Young Master Su is so awesome. Even the head of the family bows to him. I don't know what they said in the box. You don't have to wonder. The head of the Dong family just had a tit-for-tat confrontation with young Master Su in the restaurant because he didn't want to lose the face of the Dong family. Young Master Su should know this, so he called him to the box alone. It is estimated that the head of the Dong family will give him to him directly when he arrives in the box. Kneel down. The grade of Joseph's restaurant in Jiangbei is very high. Most of the people who can eat here are from rich or noble families, so they have heard a little about the affairs of the major families in Jiangbei. The boss here is also the #1 person and has a relatively large influence, but compared with the Su family and the Dong family, he is far behind. Naturally, he does not dare to ask about Su Yang and Dong Wenzheng. After dealing with the Dong family, Su Yang walked to the dining table and asked with a smile, "Wife, Yu, have you finished eating?" "Uh-huh." Su Yu nodded her little head, and then said fiercely, "Dad Su, did that bad guy bully you? If he bullied you, tell Yu that Yu is very powerful and can blow his head off with one punch." As she spoke, Su Yu waved her fist, looking fierce. "Haha, you are indeed Dad's caring little cotton-padded jacket." Su Yang's heart melted. He gently rubbed Su Yu's hair, and then said with a smile, "However, no one dares to bully Dad. Besides, you are a child, so you should let Dad protect you." "Bar. I won't let Dad Su protect you. Mom said you are a super playboy, uneducated and unskilled, just an ordinary person." Su Yu said proudly, "But Yu is different. Yu is a super master. The moment you raise your hand, the sky will fall apart and the earth will fall apart. It's amazing." A pretty little girl said these words proudly and seriously, full of joy. Okay, Yo-Yo is a super master." Su Yang couldn't help laughing, and pinched his daughter's chubby little face lovingly. "Oh, Dad Su, what are you doing? Squeezing your face is disrespectful to a super master. If you pinch your face again, I will get angry," Su Yu said angrily. Su Yang pinched it again and joked, "Haha, Yo-Yo, I want to see what you look like when you are angry." "Daddy Su, forget it, who made you my Daddy Su? Yu won't argue with you." Su Yu looked helpless, spread her hands and said, "But, Dad Su, you are so childish. You have a habit of pinching children's faces, right?" "That's right, Su Yang, are you naive?" Concubine Li next to her gave Su Yang a blank look, and at the same time pushed Su Yang's hand away, protected Su Yu behind her, and said, "Don't pinch her anymore, Yu is so beautiful, what if you pinch her face and deform it? How can it be squeezed out of shape? You think it's dough?" Su Yang touched the bridge of his nose and said with a wry smile. "Then don't pinch." Li Feixuan protected Su Yu behind her like an eagle protecting a chick, and said seriously, "Yu, don't worry, he won't dare to pinch you anymore as Mother Li is here." "Yeah, thank you, Mother Li, you are so kind to me." Su Yu smiled and hugged Li Feixuan. "Hey, I wanted to pinch it twice more. It feels soft and full of collagen, but it's a pity," Su Yang said regretfully. "Su Yang, is Yu's face really so comfortable to pinch?" Concubine Li suddenly became interested after hearing this. "Well, really, if you don't believe me, try it. This." Hearing this, Concubine Li was obviously moved. She knelt down and looked at Su Yu's tender little face. Her eyes were shining, and she said sheepishly, "Yu, Mother Li has a merciless request." "Ah, Uncle Policeman, help me!" Su Yu reacted instantly and ran away. "Yu, just let me squeeze you. Mother Li promises to squeeze gently. I'll just squeeze it and feel the feel." Concubine Li smiled and then chased after her. "Ha ha!" Seeing this heartwarming scene, the corners of Su Yang's mouth slightly raised. In this way, the three of them walked out of Joseph's restaurant, and then drove back to the riverside villa. Li Feixuan had already skipped class, and because she wanted to play with Su Yuyu, she didn't go to school in the afternoon and came to the living room of the villa with Su Yang and his daughter. As soon as the three of them walked in, an old aunt in her 60s came forward to say hello, young master. Su Yang looked at the old aunt and couldn't help but ask, Mom Fu, why are you here? The old aunt is called Fu Ma. She is a servant of the Su family. She has worked hard at the Su family manor all her life and is loyal. So even if Su Yang became a playboy, he would still be polite to Fu Ma. Reporting to the eldest young master, you called last night and asked the head of the house to arrange a nanny for you, so the head of the house asked me to come, Fu Ma replied with a smile, her face covered with wrinkles. Mom Fu, you can take care of yourself in the manor now that you are old. Go back and find a younger nanny, Su Yang said. Young master, how many young nannies have dared to approach you in recent years? Do you remember last time? The manor just hired a 19-year-old nanny who was hot and pretty. But that night you gave her to. Fu's mother looked at Su Yang and said righteously, young master, please stop talking about the little nannies at home. They are still young and will talk about marriage in the future. If you have any anger, you can come to me. When I get older, I don't care about those gossips. Su Yang looked at Fu Ma, who had generously offered her charity. Her face was wrinkled and sallow, and she was speechless. Puff. Li Feixuan, who was next to her, laughed instantly and joked, Su Yang, I didn't expect that your taste is quite unique. Let's get together. I'm willing to give up my seat in the main palace. Honey, don't talk nonsense. Su Yang touched the bridge of his nose, turned to look at Fu's mother, and advised, Fu's mother, you'd better go back. I'm looking for a nanny to take care of her. With that said, Su Yang pointed at Su Yuyu and continued, her name is Su Yuyu. She is my friend's daughter. I will temporarily take her in for a few days. Yuyu is only 4 years old and still a child. I want to find a young and caring nanny to take care of her. Young master, don't look down on others. But Fu Ma said, I am the best at taking care of children. I raised you and the eldest lady by myself. When you were a child, you were quite stubborn. You had to take off all your clothes when you pooped. If you didn't take them off, you wouldn't poop. Every time, I would take off your clothes for you and put them on after you pooped. It wasn't until you were 5 years old that you got rid of this bad habit. Fu Ma was serious and continued, also, young master, your foreskin was too long when you were a child. When you were 12 years old, you had a circumcision operation. At that time, medical conditions were not as developed as they are today. After the operation, you lay in bed for a week. I'm not here to take care of you. And, you. Fu's mother wanted to give an example, but Su Yang couldn't sit still, his face turned dark, and he interrupted directly, Fu's mother, stop talking. If you want to stay, you can stay. Have no idea. Fu Ma has been with me for more than 20 years, and she does know that she has many embarrassing things. If she doesn't agree, she will be stripped naked. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 175. Have to say. Fu's mother has a lot of experience in taking care of people. After all, she has worked in the Su family all her life, so Su Yang did not refuse and asked Fu's mother to stay. Su Yuyu played all morning and was a little tired, so Su Yang coaxed her to take a nap. After settling their daughter, Su Yang and Li Feixuan sat on the sofa and turned on the TV together. During this time, the two of them had met many times, but this was the first time they sat down quietly and enjoyed the time. Su Yang, Yuyu is 4 years old and should be in school. Last night I sent a message to her mother and asked her which kindergarten she went to. Her mother said that Yuyu's school is not in Jiangbei. At this time, Li Feixuan suddenly thought of a question and suggested, "It's not okay for children not to go to school." I thought, why not enroll you in a kindergarten? How many days can you go to? You can't go to school every day. I'll be with her all the time, and I still have to go to school and be busy with training classes. Can. Su Yang smiled softly and said, "Wife, I'll leave this matter to you." Ye concubine Li Xian smiled and said, "I happen to know a pretty good kindergarten. I'll sign up in the afternoon. I should be able to go to school tomorrow. 1 week is neither long nor short, so just let Yu play in the kindergarten for a few days," concubine Li said with a smile. "Honey, you are so considerate." Su Yang approached Li Feixuan, put his hand on Li Feixuan's leg unconsciously, and started to act dishonestly. "Su Yang, what are you doing? Don't touch me in broad daylight." Li Feixuan's beautiful face turned red. Su Yang ignored it, hugged Li Feixuan directly to him, and said with a playful smile, "Hey, wife, didn't you promise me before that you would accompany me when my relatives leave? He he he." What did I promise you?" "Yesterday, I remember it clearly." You are making something out of nothing." "Hey, my wife, you are indeed a female college student. She uses idioms well." Su Yang grabbed Li Feixuan's beautiful hand and pulled her directly into his arms. He instantly turned into a domineering president and said sternly, "But, woman, it's useless. You can't escape my grasp." After saying that, Su Yang kissed concubine Li's beautiful face. Li Feixuan struggled for a few times, but soon complied and began to cooperate with Su Yang. But at this moment, Fu Ma appeared out of nowhere with a mop in her hand. "Young master, move your feet, it's affecting my mopping the floor." "Mop?" Su Yang had a black line on his head and immediately stopped what he was doing. "Ah!" Only then did Li Feixuan realize that there was a third person, and her face was filled with shyness. She hurriedly sat down and gathered her messy hair in a panic, wanting to find a crack in the ground to get in. "Honey, let's change places and continue," Su Yang said with a smile. Su Yang, no, I should go find a kindergarten for Yu, and then I have to go to a training class to teach students," Li Feixuan said with a blushing face. "I'll drive you there." "Yes, young madam, let the young master see you off." "There are some things you can do in the car at this time," Fu's mother said seriously, "but you have to be careful. It's best to park the car in an empty place." Well, today I was scrolling through Douyin and I saw a man and a woman in a car, and then they were photographed and posted on the internet. It was so embarrassing. "No, Su Yang, I'll just take a taxi." Li Feixuan originally wanted to agree, but after hearing Fu Ma's words, she immediately changed her mind and ran away from the riverside villa with a blushing face. "Honey, I didn't mean that. As Su Yang was talking, Li Feixuan had already walked away, so he turned to look at Fu Ma, who was mopping the floor, gritted his teeth and said, "Fu Ma, what are you doing?" "Young master, what are you talking about? My ears are not working well and I can't hear you clearly," Fu Ma said with a confused look on her face. Su Yang was so angry that he almost succeeded, but ended up being beaten. However, Fu Ma is not an ordinary servant after all. She has taken care of Su Yang for more than 20 years. Now that she is old, deaf, and blind, Su Yang cannot blame her. "Forget it, let's go to the Jimin black market and ask Lu Hui to find out who Yo-Yo's biological mother is. By the way, ask Lu Hui when their alliance leader will come to Jiangbei. Now I am in urgent need of energy stones." With this in his mind, Su Yang looked at Fu's mother and said, "Fu's mother, Yu is asleep. Please pay attention. I have something to do, so I'm going out first." "Okay, young master," Fu Ma responded respectfully. "I'm crazy. My ears were not good just now, but can I hear clearly now?" Su Yang had a dark look on his face, but he did not blame Fu Ma, but strode out of the riverside villa. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 176. The Ferrari sped along, and about half an hour later, Su Yang appeared outside the Jimin Black Market. Immediately afterwards, Su Yang got on Su Suanation's account and strode into the Jimin Black Market. Master Su. When Lu Hui and Wang Sai saw Su Yang, they were overjoyed and greeted him at the same time. Yes, Su Yang nodded and said, "Go upstairs and have a chat. I have something I want you to help check." Yes. Lu Hui and Wang Sai were so happy that they hurriedly and respectfully led the way. They were not afraid that something would happen to Su Xiantian, but they were afraid that Su Xiantian would always be fine. After all, only by helping Mr. Su do things can they have a chance to step into the master realm. A few minutes later, the three came to a secluded room. Su Yang was sitting on the chair, while Lu Hui and Wang Sai stood aside respectfully, not daring to go any further. "Mr. Su, you just said that there is something that we need to investigate at this moment." Lu Hui couldn't wait to say, "What is the matter? I will try my best to investigate." "Well, that's troublesome." Su Yang nodded lightly, then took out his mobile phone, opened the photo album, and said, "I want to know who this girl's mother is. Can you find out?" This photo was taken while playing in Happy Valley in the morning. "It is very clear." "Mr. Su, yes, don't worry. The power of our Nine Gates Black Market is spread all over China. It's not a big problem to check one person. I guarantee that it will be done within 2 days." Lu Hui said. His eyes fell on the phone screen, and his expression suddenly froze. Wang Sai also looked at the photo, but he and Lu Hui looked at each other and chose silence. "What's wrong?" Su Yang frowned. "No, nothing." Lu Hui paused, then whispered, "Mr. Su, please check her mother." "Is there anything wrong?" "There's no need to tell you," Su Yang said lightly, "just tell me if I can check it out." "It's possible, but..." Lu Hui was slightly embarrassed. After thinking for a few seconds, he responded, "Mr. Su, there are some things that Wang Sai and I can't decide on. Let's do this. You wait here for a while, and Wang Sai and I will report to the superiors." "Good." Su Yang naturally noticed the weirdness of the two of them, but he didn't ask further questions. He just wanted to know the answer. Subsequently, Lu Hui and Wang Sai left the room and went to the special communication room of Jimin Black Market together. The iron walls here are filled with all kinds of advanced communication equipment, and can cut off all information from the outside world. Lu Hui, if I read correctly, the little girl on Mr. Su's cell phone is the daughter of the alliance leader, right? Wang Sai asked uncertainly. Lu Hui nodded and said with doubts on his face, "The entire ancient martial arts world knows that the alliance leader gave birth to a daughter at an early age, named Su Yuyu. The key is, Mr. Su is investigating what Miss Yuyu's mother is doing, and what is Mr. Su doing? Will there be photos of Miss Yuyu?" "I don't know." Wang Sai didn't know why, and continued, looking at the background of the photo, "It seems to be in an amusement park. Mr. Su took Miss Yuyu to Happy Valley." "It should be, but how do they know each other?" Lu Hui guessed. Could it be that the leader of the alliance has already met Mr. Su and left Miss Yuyu with Mr. Su? No way. Miss Yuyu is the alliance leader's favorite. Why would she rashly hand it over to Mr. Su? Wang Sai denied this speculation, and then suggested, "I think this matter is weird. Why not ask the alliance leader for his opinion?" "Good." Lu Hui agreed, and then dialed the phone number of the alliance leader Qian Shangxiu and greeted him respectfully, "Alliance leader." At the same time, in a villa in Jiangbei, Qian Shangxiu answered the phone and said in a cold tone, "Well, why are you contacting me at this time? Is there any news about Su Xiantian?" "Yes." Lu Hui nodded first, and then said, Mr. Su is currently in the Jimin black market, but, Mr. Su has a photo of Miss Yu Yu and wants us to help investigate information about Miss Yu Yu's mother. Huh? Qian Shangxiu frowned and said, why does he have a photo of Yu Yu? I don't know, Lu Hui responded, and then asked, Leader, do you want to tell Mr. Su? Hearing this, Qian Shangxiu frowned deeper and began to think seriously. After a moment, she came to a conclusion. I handed Yu Yu over to Su Yang, and Su Xiantian has some connections with the Su family. Lu Hui once told me that Grandpa Su Qincan and Su Xiantian were sworn brothers. According to their seniority, Su Xiantian should be Su Yang's grandfather. There should be a connection between them. Although Su Yang is a playboy, he is not stupid. A little girl named Su suddenly appeared next to him. Maybe he has begun to suspect that Yu Yu is his daughter. And Yu Yu has never been to Jiangbei. With the power of the Su family, there is no useful information at all. That's why Su Yang asks Su Xiantian for help and asks Su Xiantian to check the origin of Yu Yu. Qian Shangxiu thought about it and felt that this was the most likely possibility. She raised a smile, Su Yang, since you want to know Yunyun's identity, then I will tell you that after you know that Yunyun is your daughter, what's your attitude towards Yo-Yo? This is what I am thinking about. Qian Shangxiu then ordered, Lu Hui, tell Su Xiantian that Yu Yu's mother's name is Zhang Shuer. By the way, tell him that Yu Yu's father is the #1 dude in Jiangbei, Su Yang. Men are all half-hearted, and Master Su is no exception. That's good. Zhang Shuer. It must be true. Su Yang is uneducated and has no skills. He is the best loser in Jiangbei. The leader of the alliance is amazingly talented and the best in ancient martial arts. How can Su Yang be so virtuous and capable? Wang Sai gritted his teeth. At this moment, Su Yang nodded, then told Lu Hui his contact information, and asked without leaving any trace, I help people improve their strength and need energy stones. When your alliance leader came to Jiangbei, did you bring energy stones with you? In fact, he had a vague guess in his mind before, but he didn't expect it to be Zhang Shuer. Don't worry, Mr. Su, the alliance leader has mobilized 200 energy stones and they will be sent to Jiangbei soon, Lu Hui said with a smile. Zhang Shuer. 9 Gates Black Market. Lu Hui was equally aggrieved. After knowing who Yo-Yo's mother was, Su Yang did not continue the topic, but asked, have you, leader of the alliance, come to Jiangbei? This is probably what is meant by eating what's in the bowl and looking at what's in the pot. After getting the answer, Su Yang showed a wry smile. Here we are in Jiangbei now, Lu Hui said truthfully, but the leader is busy with something very important. She asked me to ask for your phone number and will contact you personally afterwards. Su Yang nodded and said, when I get the energy stone, I will help you enter the master realm. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Lu Hui and Wang Sai left the communication room and went directly to the room upstairs to convey Qian Shangxiu's words to Su Yang. After leaving a few words, Su Yang left the Jimin black market. Lu Hui was confused, but he didn't dare to ask any more questions. Instead, he responded respectfully, yes. Lu Hui. Miss Yu Yu's mother is obviously the alliance leader, which means that the alliance leader is Zhang Shuer, and the alliance leader just said on the phone that Miss Yu Yu's father is Su Yang, a handsome man from Jiangbei. Congratulations to Mr. Su. Lu Hui and Wang Sai bent down and spoke respectfully. After sending Su Yang away, Lu Hui began to analyze. Su Yang had a rather deep impression of Zhang Shuer. She was Li Feiquan's best friend. Lu Hui's face was full of shock and he said in disbelief, damn it, doesn't this mean that the alliance leader had a relationship with that playboy Su Yang? Qian Shangxiu said calmly, I can't get away now and can't go back to the Jimin black market. In my name, ask Su Xiantian for his contact information. I will contact him when I'm done. Young Master Su has no empathy. He still likes Li Feixuan, but he also likes Zhang Shue'er. The toad ate the swan's meat. It's disgusting to think about it. It's really not worth it for the leader. Su Yang. After giving the instructions, Qian Shangxiu hung up the phone. Su Yang also has a good impression of her, but this does not mean that young Master Su is in love with her. Back then, Zhang Shue'er walked into the lives of young Master Su and Li Feixuan. The three of them were in close contact and got along day and night. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 177. After leaving the Jimen black market, Su Yang returned to his original appearance and prepared to drive back to the riverside villa. As for Zhang Shue'er's matter, just keep it the same and cope with the ever-changing situation. What should come will always come. Now that Zhang Shue'er has sent Yu to him, Su Yang firmly believes that Zhang Shue'er will appear before long and the matter will be resolved at that time. But just as the Ferrari was driving halfway, Su Yang suddenly received a call from Su Shenbing. "Dad, what are you doing on the phone? If you have something to talk about, hang up if you have nothing to do. Don't disturb my coolness," Su Yang said, pretending to be dandy. "You brat, you are already an ancient warrior in the Huajin realm. Can't you learn a little better and be more calm when you speak and act?" Su Shenbing's voice came from the phone. "Okay." Su Yang slowed down his tone and repeated methodically, "Dad, if you have something to talk about, then hang up if you have nothing to do. Don't disturb me." "Is this tone and tone calm enough?" Su Yang asked with a smile. "You bastard, you are totally out of tune." Su Shenbing's face darkened instantly, and then he said seriously, "Let me tell you something serious. Go back to the manor immediately. I want to introduce you to a big shot." "Who?" Su Yang raised his eyebrows. "Tian's god of war, Zhao Tian's." Su Shenbing added, "This Zhao Tian's is in his early 40s. He once killed 120,000 enemy troops. He is a legend in southern Xinjiang and is loved by hundreds of millions of people. Come back quickly. He is at the Su family manor at the moment." "Great, but what does it have to do with me? Why should I see him?" Su Yang asked doubtfully. "Bunny, every generation of our Su family's sons, starting from your grandfather, will join the army." Su Shenbing explained, "In your generation, you were a waste before, so your sister joined the army for her brother, took off her women's clothes and wore a military uniform. But now, you have taken the magic pill and become an ancient warrior in the realm of strength. It's time to consider joining the army." Su Shenbing continued, "So, I plan to introduce you to Zhao Tian's and let you join his command." "Dad, you are not a common man. Haven't you ever heard that good iron should not be hammered with nails, and good men should not be soldiers?" Su Yang said, "You are my only son, and if you send me to the battlefield, aren't you afraid of being rejected?" "Shut up. Su Yang, I'm not kidding you." Hearing this, Su Shenbing's voice suddenly became heavy, and he said sternly, "Protecting the homeland, expanding the territory and opening up new territories, this is the responsibility that every Chinese man should fulfill. Every inch of mountains and rivers is an inch of blood. The comfortable environment you have now is all earned by the martyrs who sacrificed their lives and blood. Without their sacrifice, the country would not be a country, and why would it be a home?" Su Shenbing said solemnly, "What I hate the most in my life is that a good boy should not be a soldier. This is an excuse for the cowardly and incompetent. If all the sons of the Hua kingdom think so, then who will carry the spear to protect the land and open up the frontiers? Who will raise the banner of the rise and fall of the country?" It could be heard from his tone that Su Yang's words touched his most sensitive nerve, so he was furious. His father's words made Su Yang's expression become solemn, and a feeling of patriotism emerged spontaneously. Young Master Su has been deeply influenced by his grandfather and father since he was a child, and his patriotism naturally does not need to be emphasized. The blood-devouring beads that Su Yang refined a few days ago condensed the blood essence of tens of thousands of people. Together, the two made the current immortal Emperor Xiantian have a special affection for China and felt that he had the responsibility to protect this country. Su Yang, don't worry. If you go to the battlefield, I will tell Zhao to take good care of you. Su Shenbing continued, although Zhao is now in a high position, many years ago, he was just a soldier under me. He respected me very much and would definitely give me 3 points. Dad. At this time, Su Yang said, I was joking with you just now. In fact, I have wanted to go to the battlefield for a long time. Kill the enemy to serve the country, and fight on the border. How cool it is. I will go back to see Zhao right now. Haha, okay, this is my son, Su Shenbing. Su Shenbing was overjoyed, and then said, but, Su Yang, don't tell your sister about this. You know, your sister's kindness as a woman must be I don't want to see you on the battlefield, for fear that you will be in danger. Yes, I know. Su Yang nodded, then hung up the phone, turned the car around, and headed straight for the Su family manor. Half an hour later. Su family manor. At this time, in the manor hall, Zhao Tian's brought 2 lieutenants and came to visit the former Marshal Su with generous gifts. The two sides seemed to have endless topics to talk about, and they had been chatting alone in Su Shenbing's study for a long time. Hey, time flies so fast. Su Shui, more than 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Zhao Tian sighed and looked at Su Shenbing. At this moment, Su Shenbing's legs had not recovered yet. He was sitting in a wheelchair. Zhao Tian stared at it for a few seconds and said in memory, who could have imagined that the past was so glorious? Su Shui, who frightened 5 counties and 19 countries, will live in a small Jiangbei and even sit in a wheelchair. Tians. Su Shenbing looked at it openly and smiled softly, don't mention the past anymore, talk about something happy. You are now ranked first among the 10 generals, haha, I was just a little injured, otherwise I will see you when it comes to you, I will kneel down and salute you. Su Shui. When Zhao Tians heard this, his expression suddenly became serious. He immediately knelt down on one knee and said solemnly, you are slapping my subordinate in the face by saying this. Years ago, the so-called battle for my fame that others didn't know about doesn't mean that I can really take on that heavy meritorious service. Zhao Tians said seriously, I, Zhao Tians, have been a soldier for half my life, and all my glory is due to you. I don't obey anyone except you. I dare to accept everyone's kneeling, except you. Zhao Tians solemnly said, I am your soldier, forever and ever. Even if you have no official position now, you are still my commander Su. If you open your mouth, just say a word, and I will immediately resign from my official position in the army and stay by your side. You boy. Su Shenbing was slightly excited, and patted Zhao Tian's shoulder with red eyes, and said with a smile, get up, if you give up your job, who will guard southern Xinjiang? Besides, Prince Ping is the coach now, and he is yours. My boss, please don't say this kind of thing again, lest you be chewed out by people with bad intentions. Yes. Zhao Tians responded respectfully and stood up. He is tall and taller than Su Shenbing. But standing next to Su Shenbing, he always kept himself lower than Su Shenbing. Su Shui, there is something that has been bothering me for a long time and I never had the chance to ask. After a moment of silence, Zhao Tians couldn't help but ask, I'm very curious. Back then, you defeated 1,000 armies by yourself, made 3 plans to conquer the southern border, and killed 120,000 enemy troops. This credit should have been yours. Why did you take it? It was left to me, and even afterwards, he took the initiative to resign and retire to Jiangbei. My subordinates are puzzled by this matter and have never been able to figure it out. After so many years, can Su Shui have an answer? Zhao Tians looked at Su Shenbing in confusion. After all these years, it doesn't hurt to tell you. Su Shenbing paused, then showed a wry smile and told the reason. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 178. I joined the army at the age of 18. I have been in the army for many years and have gained a great reputation. Su Shenbing raised his head and looked out the window, feeling infinite nostalgia, and his eyes were extremely complex. There are some high-spirited and energetic, some young and frivolous, but in the end, they all end up being dull. He continued, when I was 32 years old, my achievements were so great that I was named a commander and commanded the 3 armies of China. That was my peak. From now on, I will be unstoppable. Looking back, Su Shenbing's eyes fell on Zhao Tian's, and he said meaningfully, since ancient times, all kings who sit on the top of power have been afraid of ministers who have made great achievements. Back then, the word Sushui resounded throughout China. In my name, thousands of troops could be gathered. Naturally, the emperor couldn't sit still in the Jinluan palace. He issued an imperial edict to invite me to the capital. After seeing me, he offered to share the world equally with me. Su Shenbing smiled and said, but how is this possible? I know very well that this is just a way for him to retreat in order to advance. He has determined that I dare not covet the world and will not share the country with him. His purpose is just to let me get rid of my armor and return home. Hearing this, Zhao Tian's eyes were as bright as fire, and he gritted his teeth and said, Commander Su, you have devoted your whole life to the country of China, but in the end, the cunning rabbit died, the lackey was cooked, and the emperor actually forced you to dismount. How could you agree to it? He. Su Shenbing smiled freely and said, Tians, you don't understand me, that's not what I meant. Promoting an official position, gaining fame and wealth are not important to me. I just want to contribute to China. Su Shenbing continued, after the battle in southern Xinjiang, it shocked all countries, but it can keep the peace of China for 10 years. The country no longer needs me, so I naturally have no need to continue to hold on to the military power in my hands. Su Shenbing smiled softly and said, even if the emperor doesn't mention it, I will do it. I retire and have a relationship with him, but it is not a direct relationship. What really made me quit was my body. Having said this, Su Shenbing smiled bitterly and said, more than 10 years ago, I was a martial arts master. Now, instead of making any progress, I have fallen to the late stage of Huajin. Zhao Tians heard this and asked with concern, Sushui, your body. You don't need to ask any more questions. You just need to know that my withdrawal from the battlefield is the best ending. Su Shenbing smiled and said, as for why I give you the credit for trapping and killing 120,000 enemy troops, it's very simple. Back then, I, Commander Su, was the backbone of the Chinese nation, the most important weapon of the country, the sharpest blade of the country, and the belief in the hearts of the people. I can withdraw from the battlefield, but the Chinese people cannot have no faith. Su Shenbing continued, and you are the new faith. I say this, do you understand? Trapping and killing 120,000 enemy troops, this achievement shocked the world and was enough to be recorded in history. That year, Zhao Tians relied on this record to establish himself as the god of war and win the love of hundreds of millions of people. Understood. Zhao Tians nodded and said with awe, Shui Su is selfless, not greedy for fame and fortune, and has the world at heart. My subordinates admire him. Zhao Tians was a man of flesh and blood. He was directly moved by Su Shenbing's behavior. His eyes flashed. He knelt down on one knee and saluted with his fists clasped. Get up, Tians. You are now Tian's god of war, and I am just the head of a small family. Pay attention to the impact, Su Shenbing said. You can bear my bow, Zhao Tians said respectfully, and then was helped up by Su Shenbing. I won't mention my daughter Su Jingguo. She is one of the top 10 generals like you, so you should be familiar with her. Um. Tians, hearing is false, seeing is believing. Su Yang is here, see it with your own eyes. Su Shenbing was about to explain, but at this moment, Su Yang's voice asking for a meeting came from outside. Zhao Tians agreed without hesitation and promised, "Su Shui, don't worry, I will definitely ensure his safety." Ha ha. Ha ha, Tians, you think too highly of him. He's just a kid. It's good if he doesn't cause you any trouble. Dad, is this the famous Tian's god of war? Su Yang said with a smile. Su Shenbing smiled softly and said, "Actually, I have something to ask for. I have a pair of children." I. Su Shui. Su Shenbing didn't want Zhao Tian's to know the truth. On the contrary, when he heard Zhao Tian's commenting on Su Yang, he felt very happy, so he glared at Su Yang and told him not to talk nonsense, and then said, "Thank you, God praise from the god of war." Okay. Su Shenbing smiled softly and said, "Su Yang, you came just in time. I was talking to Tians about you. He didn't believe that you were an ancient warrior in the middle stage of transformation. Release your true energy quickly and let him have a look." "I believe it." Su Shenbing changed his tone and said, "My son Su Yang has grown up. I want him to join your army and train on the battlefield. What do you think?" "Ken. Young Master Su, you're welcome." Zhao Tian smiled softly and said, "Young Master Su is a talented person, and his strength is considered top-notch among the younger generation. He will definitely shine on the battlefield." Zhao Tian did not hide anything and asked softly, "Shui Su, major events have happened in eastern Xinjiang recently. Have you heard about it? You have suffered a lot of infamy, you have endured the humiliation, and you don't show off your integrity. Mr. Su, I admire your character very much. It's true that a tiger father has no dog son, and he is worthy of being the son of Su Shui." Su Yang smiled and didn't care about this. He followed his father's wishes and said, "Thank you, Tian's god of war." Su Shenbing was quite proud, and then he changed the subject and said, "Tians, what do you want to do when you come to Jiangbei this time?" Then, Su Yang walked into the study, first greeted Su Shenbing, and then looked at Zhao Tian's next to him. Su Yang wanted to say, "According to the plot, didn't I become a powerful person after taking the magic pill? Why did I endure the humiliation and bear the burden?" Zhao Tian's paused after hearing this, and then said with a wry smile, "I asked for some information before coming here. As far as I know, Mr. Su is a well-known dandy in Jiangbei. He is a frequent visitor to nightclubs. He has no knowledge, no skills, and no ambition to make progress. How can he? He is a master of energy transformation, so please don't lie to me." Zhao Tian smiled and said, "But Su Shui, you shouldn't lie to me. Of course, I can arrange the position of adjutant. It will be convenient for me to protect Mr. Su by letting him stay with me when he goes to the battlefield." Zhao Tian looked at Su Yang for a few times and then began to praise, "Haha, I believed the rumors outside. I didn't expect that Mr. Su is not a playboy, but has secretly cultivated to the middle stage of transformation." "Okay, I'll leave it to you," Su Shenbing said with a little pride. "That boy Su Yang is now in the middle stage of energy transformation. His strength is not weak. He is more than enough to be your adjutant." Su Shenbing smiled, and then said, "Su Yang, come in." "Tians." "What, me?" Su Yang did as he was told, then looked at Zhao Tians and said with a smile, "Tians, god of war, do you believe it now? There is indeed something more important. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 179. "What's the big deal?" Su Shenbing asked confused. "This is confidential, but you are Su Shui, and this matter has something to do with you, so it doesn't hurt to tell you. Zhao Tian's thought for a while and then said, a few days ago, your daughter, the god of war, fell into the trap of the military advisor of country D and was trapped under a small city on the border of country D. What? Su Shenbing's expression suddenly changed, and he asked worriedly, how is the heroine? Is she okay? Don't worry, Su Shui, just listen to me. Zhao Tian smiled softly and continued, originally, the heroine god of war had no way to escape, and our reinforcements could not arrive in time. But at the critical moment, a young Earth sect descended from the sky with a pet dog and directly wiped out 80,000 enemy troops. The two mid-stage grandmasters and even the D-state military advisor Chen Shangyun, who was half a Earth sect level, were not spared. Zhao Tian's continued, the heroine god of war was saved because of this. Now she has recovered as before, and her strength has reached a higher level. After learning that his daughter was fine, Su Shenbing breathed a sigh of relief and asked curiously, who is the young Earth sect who took action? His name is, Su Xiantian, Zhao Tian said truthfully. Su Shenbing heard this and said with confirmation, Su Xiantian, Uncle Xiantian. Good. Zhao Tian nodded and said, I know the relationship between the Su family and Su Xiantian. The old man Su Qianqian was sworn brother to Su Xiantian. According to seniority, he is your uncle. According to my guess, Su Xiantian chose to save the heroine god of war because of this relationship, Zhao Tian said. Definitely is. Speaking of Su Xiantian, Su Shenbing said proudly, Uncle Xiantian is really a dragon that never sees its end. He was still in Jiangbei a few days ago and suddenly went to eastern Xinjiang. It's too mysterious. The most correct decision my father made in his life was to choose to become sworn brother with Su Xiantian. Su Shenbing smiled, and then asked, Tians, did you come to Jiangbei to find my uncle Xiantian? Zhao Tians responded, on the order of Prince Ping Long Suxing, I came to Jiangbei to make friends with Su Xiantian and try to draw him into the Chinese camp. Su Shui, you are familiar with Su Xiantian, do you think he will agree? It's hard to say. Su Shenbing continued, I hope that Uncle Xiantian will serve the country, but he comes from the ancient martial arts section. What he pursues should be fame and fortune in the ancient martial arts world. He may not be interested in everything in the city. But you can give it a try. If he agrees, China will have an unbeatable top player. Good. Zhao Tians then asked, Shui Su, do you know the whereabouts of Su Xiantian? I don't know. Su Shenbing smiled bitterly and then came up with an idea, Uncle Xiantian occasionally goes to the Jimen black market. You can go to the black market to squat with him. Okay, Zhao Tians asked again, Su Shui, I have another question. What attitude do you think I should use to contact Su Xiantian? Should I put on airs or be respectful to please? The latter. Su Shenbing thought for a moment and said seriously, I, Uncle Xiantian, am young and promising, with an arrogant temperament. I am the kind of docile donkey. You must follow him, pay enough attention to him, respect him, and then he will communicate with you. Otherwise, you don't even have the right to talk to him. I see, thank you Su Shui for the tip. Zhao Tians clasped his fists in gratitude. You are welcome. Su Shenbing smiled, and then asked doubtfully, by the way, you said that when Uncle Xiantian went to eastern Xinjiang to rescue women, he also brought a pet dog with him. Yes, but that is no ordinary pet dog. Its fighting power is terrifying. When Zhao Tians mentioned this matter, his face was full of horror. That teddy dog killed more enemy soldiers than Su Xiantian. So powerful, he must have been raised using ancient methods. It seems that Uncle Xiantian has an extraordinary origin. Su Shenbing was even more certain that Su Xiantian came from a powerful ancient martial arts sect. Su Shui. After asking about Su Xiantian, Zhao Tians reminded, you should be more careful these days, especially Mr. Su. As he spoke, Zhao Tian's eyes fell on Su Yang and continued, recently, Country D is targeting the harrowing god of war. According to the information I got, they have sent experts to Jiangbei to kill Mr. Su in order to disrupt the heroine. The state of mind of the god of war. After walking out of the study, Su Yang did not stay in the Su family manor, but drove to the riverside villa. Hey, little brat. After sending Zhao Tian's away, Su Shenbing couldn't help bragging, Tian's god of war will always be polite when he sees your father. Your father used to be a powerful figure. Su Yuyu is still in the villa, and Su Yang plans to go over and take a look. Haha, okay, I won't keep you for dinner. Su Shenbing did not persuade him to stay. Now that his son has entered the Huajin realm, he finally doesn't have to worry too much. Therefore, ITO made the decision yesterday to use the Li family to threaten Susuanation's appearance. Yes, Dad, you are really a sparrow pecking the cow's butt and a bird eating the cow's breast, Su Yang said with a perfunctory smile. Commander Su, my subordinates have orders, so it is inconvenient to stay for a long time. I will visit you another day when I have time. Damn it, my old baby, why didn't you realize before that Fu's mother has such a personality? But when he came to the villa, Su Yuyu and Fu Ma were not there. You little bastard, why are you talking to Dad? If you are really awesome, you are really awesome. Why are you talking like a sparrow pecking a cow's ass? Doesn't it make you look very educated? Su Shenbing scolded Su Yang with a dark face, and immediately raised his hand to teach Su Yang a lesson. He got the news that Su Xiantian had given birthday gifts to Li Chunfeng, the head of the Li family, and thought that the two parties had friendship. Su Yang, did you see it? Where are you going? Don't run around. Didn't you hear what Tian's god of war said? Be careful of the masters from Country D. Mr. Su, leave me a phone number and I'll contact you. Coupled with his murderous aura, his true fighting power may be as close as half a step to that of the Earth sect. There was a note on the dining table in the living room, young master, I'm tired. I don't want to cook tonight. Miss Yu happened to want to have barbecue, so I took her there. We'll be back after eating. You'd better order takeout instead of cooking. After dinner, I don't want to wash the pots and dishes when I get back. Also, pay attention to hygiene and don't make the floor dirty. Mopping the floor is too tiring. Whoever gets it dirty will mop it. Before I knew it, it was getting dark. Su Shenbing cursed and warned, but there was a happy smile on his face. Zhao Tian's hurriedly responded respectfully, Su Shui is so polite. If he took action, Su Yang was sure to defeat Zhao Tian's, and he would do so in a completely crushing manner. At this time, Zhao Tian said goodbye. As for Mr. Su, when I leave Jiangbei and return to southern Xinjiang, I will take him with me. Su Yang next to him smiled, already seeing Zhao Tian's strength. Dad, you'd better heal your legs first before you hit me. After Zhao Tian's asked for Su Yang's mobile phone number, he said goodbye to Su Shenbing again, then walked out of the study and led his two lieutenants to leave the Su family manor. Su Yang complained, balled up the note, threw it into the trash can, and then went upstairs to practice. But don't worry, I came to Jiangbei this time to make a big fuss. While I was in Jiangbei, people from Country D would definitely not dare to take action, Zhao Tian said confidently. ITO, a master of the Earth sect of Country D, broke into the Li family manor under the leadership of several hidden stakes of Country D. Haha, if that's the case, I'll trouble you, Su Shenbing said with a smile. No wonder Zhao Tian's is so confident, he has already reached the peak of Grandmaster. Su Yang's figure ducked away easily, leaving a few words before leaving the study. At this moment, the Li family manor received a group of uninvited guests. But this was not enough in front of Su Yang. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 180. At the same time. In the Li family manor, there is an underground secret room. Li Chunfeng was sitting cross-legged, his eyes slightly closed, and he was practicing, surrounded by true energy. Next to him, Li Kuowu looked at his father seriously, intently studying the Li family's internal skills. Soon, Li Chunfeng finished practicing, and the energy from his body dissipated. He slowly opened his eyes and asked lightly, "Kuowu, how are you? How did you learn?" "Father," Li Kuowu said with a face full of shame, "maybe I am too stupid. After reading it for so many years, I still can't get in and understand a higher level." "Why?" Li Chunfeng sighed, and then said, as expected, "But Kuowu, do you know how long it took Su Yang to learn it?" Li Kuowu said contemptuously, "As we all know, Su Yang is a super waste. He has never been exposed to ancient martial arts before. If he wants to master the Li family's internal skills, I am afraid it will take at least 30 to 50 years. Waste." Li Chunfeng scolded with a dark face, "Didn't you hear my question clearly? Let me ask you, how long did it take for Su Yang to learn it? Isn't the meaning of the words obvious enough? Su Yang has already learned it." "What?" Li Kuowu was immediately shocked and shook his head repeatedly, "This is impossible. Su Yang only used the magic pill to become an ancient warrior. It has only been a few days. There is no way he can practice the Li family's skills." "How many days?" He. Li Chunfeng sneered, and then said, "You underestimate Su Yang. He only saw me run it once and he has already mastered the Li family's ancestral technique. Just watch it once, this." Li Kuowu was stunned, the astonishment on his face could not be greater. He couldn't believe his ears and murmured, "Father, it is unheard of to learn the Li family's exercises in one go. What kind of talent is this? Could it be that you made a mistake? He has indeed practiced it well. I have seen it with my own eyes. There is no lie." Li Chunfeng's eyes fell on his son, and he scolded dissatisfiedly, "Li Kuowu, in comparison, you are the real waste. How can you have the shame to laugh at Su Yang?" When Li Kuowu heard this, he touched his nose awkwardly and stood aside without saying anything. "Hey, it's because I have too high demands on you. The Li family's skills are so profound and difficult to understand. It took even me half a lifetime to get the hang of it. I don't blame you for your stupid talent." Li Chunfeng sighed again, and then said seriously, "It's impossible to count on you for the future of the Li family. Although Su Yang was a waste before, with no knowledge or skills, his martial arts talent is really astonishing. After using the Tongshen pill to enter ancient martial arts, his future achievements will be limitless." Li Chunfeng said longingly, "Perhaps, in the near future, Su Yang can rival my grandfather and become a giant. When the time comes, he will be a strong shield for our Li family, protecting the Li family for at least 100 years. Having said this, Li Chunfeng looked at Li Kuowu and reminded, "Kuowu, when you see Su Yang in the future, be more polite to him and don't be like before." "Yes." Li Kuowu nodded. Although he was a little reluctant, he clearly understood the priorities. Su Yang is now different from what he used to be. When he grows up, he will become the supporter of the Li family, so his attitude will naturally change. Moreover, the reason why Li Kuowu looked down on Su Yang was entirely because Su Yang was notorious for being uneducated and incompetent. Among them, lack of knowledge and skill is the key point. In his opinion, a man can go to a club or find a technician, but the prerequisite is that he must be capable. It is so common for a strong man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines, and it is understandable. What Li Kuowu hates is that Su Yang has no ability and goes to the club in a daze all day long. He is a totally helpless adu and the scum of Jiangbei. But now, Su Yang is capable, has entered the middle stage of Huajin, and his martial arts talent is astonishing. Li Kuowu can naturally accept Su Yang's previous notoriety. Even Li Kuowu was already thinking about how to improve his relationship with Su Yang. Or, do what they like and arrange a club. At this moment, Li Chunfeng suddenly noticed the situation outside. His expression suddenly changed. He stood up and said, "Someone broke into the manor." Li Kuo came to his senses and asked doubtfully, "Who is so bold?" "I don't know, but one of them is very strong. He seems to be a master of the Earth sect." Li Chunfeng had a solemn expression and said in a deep voice, "Kuei Wu, contact all the masters in the manor immediately and follow me out to have a look." "Yes." At this time, outside the gate of the manor. "Stop, the Li family manor is a private place. No entry is allowed without permission." Several servants of the Li family at the door saw Ito and others approaching with unkind expressions, so they rushed to meet them and stopped them with words. "Court death." Seeing this, Ito raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth, holding the handle of the katana in his right hand and the scabbard in his left hand. The next moment, he suddenly took action, pulled out his katana, and swung it out. Immediately afterwards, a sword light appeared, and with a flash of sword light, the 4 servants of the Li family fell to the ground. Puff! 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 These 4 people's trachea were all slashed with a knife, and bright red blood spurted out. They lost their lives without even reacting. Killed 4 people with 1 knife. Looking at Ito again, the katana in his hand has returned to the scabbard, maintaining its original posture, as if it had never been moved. Because his speed was so fast that ordinary people couldn't see his movements. "Ito senpai, is this the Itoryu? It's so powerful. It deserves to be the #1 killing technique in Country D. What happened just now? Did Senior Ito take action? Why didn't I see it? It's so strong. Who in the world can stop such a powerful Ito style? Ito senpai is invincible." Several disciples from Hiroshima martial arts school started to flatter him when they saw that Ito quickly eliminated those who blocked him. Haha, just a bunch of rubbish. As Ito got older, he liked others to praise him. He felt very comfortable and said calmly, "Let's go in, take a look, and arrest all the people in the Li family. Sushientian must be forced out tonight." Later, under the leadership of Ito, the group walked into the Li family manor. Li Kuo had summoned all the masters of the Li family, and together with Li Chunfeng, they came over in a mighty manner. Soon, the 2 sides met near the rockery of the manor, and the situation became tense. Li Chunfeng did not speak, but looked at Ito with a solemn expression. Next to him, Li Kuo asked angrily, "Who are you, and why did you kill my servants of the Li family?" "Haha, you are not qualified to talk to me yet," Ito said coldly, "all of you here together are no match for me. You'd better be smarter. You." Li Kuo was furious and wanted to take action immediately. But at this time, Li Chunfeng stopped him and said, "Kuei Wu, don't be impulsive. What he said is right." Then, Li Chunfeng took a step forward, his eyes fell on Ito, and he said in a neither humble nor arrogant manner, "Your Excellency, I am Li Chunfeng, the head of the Li family. I wonder why you came here late at night. Do you have any grudge against my Li family?" "No grudges." Ito said calmly, "You are Li Chunfeng. Haha, you are the peak master. Yes, you barely have the qualifications to talk to me. To be honest, I came to the Li family not to target you, but to find Sushientian." Ito continued, "Li Chunfeng, if you are wise and cooperate with me, I guarantee that your Li family will be safe and sound. Otherwise, everyone in the Li family will die tonight. Ito comes from Country D and is a master of Earth sect in Country D. And this is the territory of China, and China officials also have equal masters. Therefore, if possible, Ito does not want to do something to exterminate the family, lest the matter becomes too big and attracts the attention of Chinese officials. When the time comes, if he wants to leave Jiangbei and return to country D, it will inevitably be very troublesome, and he may also be punished by the Chinese national sword. Chase. Ito's mission in Jiangbei was just to kill Su Xiantian. If the mission could be completed easily and smoothly, he naturally didn't want to complicate it. Su Xiantian. At this time, Li Chunfeng frowned, with confusion on his face. Sir, why are you looking for Su Xiantian to come to my Li's house? We don't know Su Xiantian. Stop pretending, my people have already investigated. On your birthday, Su Xiantian gave you a valuable tea brick. How dare you say that you don't know Su Xiantian? Ito's face was as dark as water, and he said coldly, Master Li, I'm not that easy to deceive. I hope you won't make a mistake, so as not to bring disaster to the Li family. Brick tea. Li Chunfeng paused, and then explained, Sir, you must have misunderstood. On my birthday, I did receive a brick of tea, and the person who gave it to me was Mr. Su. Li Chunfeng continued, that tea brick was indeed purchased by Su Xiantian at the Jimen black market. Many people also speculated that it was given to me by Su Xiantian. I was also very curious at the time because I really didn't know Su Xiantian and couldn't understand him. Why wish me a birthday? Li Chunfeng explained, later I learned from my granddaughter that the original Mr. Su who sent the tea bricks was not Su Xiantian, but Su Yang. Su Yang? Mr. Su. Ito frowned slightly, and then said coldly, how come the tea bricks purchased by Su Xiantian appeared in the hands of the person named Su Yang? Is it possible that they are the same person? How is it possible? Su Yang is a super dude from Jiangbei. How could he be Su Xiantian? Li Chunfeng shook his head, and then said, Su Xiantian is related to the Jiangbei Su family. Su Qianqian, the old head of the Su family, is Su Suanation's sworn brother. And Su Yang is Su Suanation's grandson. According to my guess, Su Xiantian bought the tea bricks and gave them to Su Yang, and then Su Yang gave them to me. Li Chunfeng paused for a moment, then said, Sir, if you want to find Su Xiantian, you should go to the Su family. If you come to our Li family, you are in the wrong place. Even if you kill all the members of our Li family, Su Xiantian will not show up, Li Chunfeng added. Ito hesitated a little, his eyes fell on the accompanying martial arts disciples, and frowned, is what he said true? Reporting back to Ito Senpai, what this person said makes sense. A disciple of Pingdao martial arts school whispered, everyone knows that Su Xiantian and Su Qianqian of the Su family are sworn brothers. A few days ago in the Jimen black market, someone wanted to kill the head of the Su family. It was Su Xiantian who came forward and resolved the crisis. The man continued, perhaps as he said, Su Xiantian has no friendship with the Li family, and the tea brick was a gift from the Su family dude. Damn it! Hearing this, Ito said in a deep voice, since it is certain that Su Xiantian is connected with the Su family, why did you bring me to the Li family? I'm sorry, Ito senpai, we haven't heard much these days, and we just learned about this, the disciple of Hiroshima martial arts school said tremblingly. Waste. With a sullen face, Ito grabbed the man's neck and sent him to hell with a click. Turning around, Ito said coldly, evacuate, go to the Su family. After saying that, Ito led the remaining martial arts disciples and turned around to walk away. Call. Everyone in the Li family breathed a sigh of relief when they saw this. But at this moment, Li Feixuan, wearing a snow-white dress, walked in from outside and happened to pass by Ito and others. Grandpa, Dad, why are you all here? Your faces are dark. What happened? Li Feixuan walked towards Li Chunfeng and asked curiously, also, who are they? They look weird. Fei Xian, don't talk nonsense. Li Chunfeng reminded in a low voice, and then asked, what are you doing when you go home at this time? It's almost 10 o'clock. Shouldn't I go home? Grandpa, Your question is really strange, concubine Li Xian smiled. What's so strange? You come back very late these days, and sometimes you go out to hang out with Su Yang in the middle of the night, Li Chunfeng said in a low voice. I. Li Feixuan gritted her teeth and said with a blush, I didn't. Okay, go back to your room quickly. Something happened at home. Don't stay here, Li Chunfeng urged. Li Feixuan looked back at Ito and others, slightly curious, but still obeyed her grandfather's words and walked quickly to her room. Stop. But at this moment, Ito suddenly turned around, his eyes fell on Li Feixuan, and a playful smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. This girl is not bad, she has a beautiful face, she is the most beautiful Chinese woman I have ever seen. Haha, now that I'm here at Li's house, I definitely can't go in vain. This doesn't suit my style. A greedy smile appeared on Ito's withered old face, and he said lightly, come here, take her away to me. I want to use her to celebrate my success in killing Queen Suxian tonight. Yes. The disciples of Pingdao Martial Arts School received the order, smiled playfully, and then strode towards Li Feixuan. Ah! Li Feixuan's face changed with fright, and she ran in a hurry. Daughter, don't be afraid. Seeing this, Li Kuowa couldn't care less, so he rushed forward, fought off the martial arts disciples, and protected concubine Li behind him. This martial arts disciple, who was only in the engine realm, was beaten by Li Kuowa until he spit out a mouthful of blood and returned to Ito. Trash. Ito glanced at him coldly, and immediately took action, killing him instantly. This disciple of Pingdao Martial Arts School never thought that he would die in the hands of his own people until his death. Throwing away the man's body, Ito's face turned gloomy, he stared at Li Kuowu and said coldly, you're only in the Huajin realm, but you dare to ruin my good deeds and seek death. The words fell. Ito held the katana in his hand and used the sword style again. The sword glowed with cold light and killed Li Kuowu. Li Kuowu was shocked and his eyes widened in astonishment. He could detect the sword light, but he had no ability to avoid it. He was instantly terrified. Could it be? Did you die like this? Clang. But then, a strange scene happened. A barrier of special energy suddenly appeared on the scene, protecting Li Kuowu and Li Feixuan. At the same time, a black sock sprang out from Li Feixuan's clothes, exuding powerful power and hovering in the air. The sock talisman that Su Yang gave earlier has been activated. At this moment, Riverside Villa. Su Yang was sitting cross-legged and was running the 9 nether prison suppressing technique. Suddenly he noticed something strange. He ended the practice instantly and said with a solemn expression, no, my wife is in danger.